In this video, we're going to create a session duration conversion in GA4 using the capability of audiences where you can, when a user gets added to an audience, you can trigger an event. So there is a way to create an audience based on session duration. So we'll be doing that, and that'll create an event, which will then flag as a conversion. A downside of this approach is that using audience triggered events in GA4, what I've found, all of those events show up in a landing page not set row in the engagements landing pages report, which I don't really love. It's not a huge problem necessarily, and this approach is a lot easier than the second approach I'm going to do in the second part of this video, where we use custom JavaScript in Tag Manager to keep track of how long a user's on the site. And then we send an event to GA4 once they've reached whatever threshold we want. So I'll pop up a link to that video. And this approach is simpler. That approach isn't too complicated, but it is a little bit more complicated, but it doesn't result in that not set row. So let's get started with the simple approach. Okay, the first thing we need to do is create an audience of people who have been on the site for more than our session duration threshold. So I'm going to go to audiences, create a new audience. I'm going to create a custom audience. And I do have the option of switching from users across all sessions or within the same session. But since the metric we're counting is session duration, it's actually session scope, so that doesn't matter. So here, what I want is session duration. Then I'm going to say greater than or equals. I'm going to do it 180. So this is seconds, so 3 minutes, 180 seconds. And I'm going to apply that. Then I'm going to create an audience trigger. And what this does is it sends an event when a user gets added to this audience. So the event name I'm going to use is session duration 180. And then this here is kind of important. So log an additional event when audience membership refreshes. And I want to do this because if a user comes back to the site and does this again, I want that to count as another conversion. So I don't want to just add a user to the audience and as long as they're in the audience, not send any more events. So I do want to set this. I'm going to save that. The membership duration, again, we don't actually really care about this as an audience, or I don't. So the membership duration doesn't matter to me. I'm just creating this audience so that I can create this event. I've already created this event. You'd want to give it a name and save it. You'll see in my audiences here, I have this same audience that's already been populating. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to go to our conversions, and you'll see it in here. So I do have the session duration 180, and you could wait for it to show up as an event in your events and then just flag it as a conversion here. But if you're not patient, you can just go here and say you want to create a new conversion and put your session duration 180 there. I've already done that. The last important thing to do is with conversion events, I didn't realize this for a while, but in Universal Analytics, the default is that a conversion counts once per session. In GA4, the default is that if you set an event as a conversion, it counts every time that event happens. So if you click these 3 dots, you then click change counting method. And I actually hadn't done this yet. I need to do this. So I want to change this to once per session. And I'm going to save that. And you may be thinking, well, this is a session scoped dimension, so wouldn't it necessarily only count once per session? But I tested it and that's apparently not true. I'm a little surprised by that, but I tested, and for the event that I created, there are actually fewer sessions than events, implying that there are instances where a given session has more than one of these events. So you want to make sure to do this. And that's that. And then if you go to one of your reports, again, I've had this running for a few days, so I have some data. You'll want to wait for data to collect, or you'll need to wait for data to collect. But if we go to traffic acquisition now, we see conversions here, and we've got this session duration 180. And so you can see now it's showing me that. One thing I did with this report, and just as a little bonus, I'll show you about this. I did add this session conversion rate as a column. I'm not sure when Google added it. It didn't used to exist, but I find it really nice. I like to see conversion rate, which is not a default column in reports. If you want to do that yourself, all you have to do if you have edit or admin permissions in the GA4 account is click this pencil and go to metrics, and you can add a metric and search for session conversion rate in the traffic acquisition report. In the first user acquisition report or user acquisition report, you'd want to do first user conversion rate. So you can just add that. I also removed revenue because we don't do any e-commerce on our website, so revenue isn't really a thing. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. And again, if you're interested, check out part 2 of this video where I do an approach in Tag Manager. Even if you end up using this approach, I think you'd be interested to see how I set it up. Thanks a ton for watching. Check out 2octobers.com for more videos and blog posts related to GA4. And we also do training and help people with setups of GA4, Tag Manager, and other analytics projects. So thanks again for watching.